Alright, so on whatever day this was, October 12th, that was sometime last week. Might have been before. We worked on this vocabulary. Right. So I gave you guys all the definitions of these words. Okay, so they're all here. And then you had sentences. What you're going to be doing in about, I don't know, about 25 minutes is you're going to create slides. I gave you over here a template, which is basically blank. Right, so this is the blank template. And I give you one for each one, so you don't have to worry about making it yourself. You're going to need to put the definition of the word, which I gave you. Just use the definition I gave you so you're not going crazy. You're going to make your own sentence. Do not use the sentence I gave you. So you're going to use the word in a sentence. Here, you're taking a picture that visualizes whatever the word means. Okay? And then on the bottom right, you should either put an antonym for the word. An antonym is the word that means opposite. Or a non-example. So some words don't have perfect antonyms, right? There may not be like a perfect opposite for the word. So what I want you to find is just something that just isn't it, right? That fits perfectly. So if you look, this is a kid from last year. This is what she did for one of the words, right? So right, so this is not the same words that you're using, but just gives you an example of how it works, right? So you put the definition here. Okay, so you put the word in a sentence, right? Prompted in a sentence. She has a picture that kind of visualizes what it means to be prompted. And then she has words that mean the opposite. Okay? So this is what you're doing for every single one of those words on this list. So you may have any questions about that? Is it confusing? So you understand? Is there anyone have a question?
I understand it.
I don't understand nothing.
Were you paying attention?
No, my computer, there was something going on with my computer, so me and my mom were trying to fix it, so I wasn't in the meeting.
Alright, so you're just going to have to watch the video then, it's over. Okay? Now, we're not doing this yet. This is what you're going to do second. We're going to read just a little bit of Bill Prater first. And you guys will have questions. And then when you're done with those questions, you're going to work on that then. Alright, so open up the book. Yeah, this is a pretty short chapter. We're going to read chapter 5. Let's find that. So make sure you're here, guys. And if you want to use the physical copy, that's fine. It's up to you. This is a short chapter. As soon as I'm done with the reading, you guys will just have a couple questions to answer. And then you guys will work on the vocab until I tell you what to do next, okay? You might not finish the vocab today, but you'll start it. Alright, so again, at the end of the last chapter, you had Woodrow kind of talking to Gypsy, telling her how he kind of doesn't understand why his mom left the town to go live in that poor little shack with his stepfather, or his father rather. Almost an hour later, Mom and I were in the front of the mirror in my room as she rolled my hair for the night. She was in her thin rose robe for the first time of the season, and I was wearing my summer pajamas. My room, all ruffled and lacy, was very spacious. That means a lot of space. And as pink and white as the spring, with a canopy bed. You guys know what a canopy bed is? Everybody know what a canopy bed is? That's what is.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, these are canopy beds, right? So it basically has like that layer on the outside that covers up, right? So you can like hide that. I'm almost thinking probably the reason why people had canopy beds is bugs. That's probably the reason. So you can put
most drippy is bad.
Yes, but you could put those things. You can put like a sheet around the entire edges of it to keep mosquitoes away. So that's probably the reason why people had canopy beds. If you go to like certain countries, like in Asia, the people who live outside, they have to have a canopy because otherwise There's a disease. I think it's actually still like the number one killer of people around the world. It's called malaria. So malaria is spread by mosquitoes. So people have like these nettings around their bed to keep mosquitoes away. All right, find it. Got too many things open. There we go. All right, so she's got a canopy bed, a nightstand, and a lamp beside it, where I always had good books to read. My own desk, a dresser with a big brass mirror over it. Brass is a heavy metal. A chest of drawers and a closet so full of clothes I couldn't keep track of them. So this paragraph's kind of important because it kind of should show you, and again, you have to think about it in terms of time, that she's has a very nice life. So she's kind of like wealthy. This is what that paragraph kind of tells you. These are would be considered luxuries back then, right? Having a really nice bed, a nightstand, a lamp. Nowadays, like the things that we can own that kind of show that we have money are different, right? But back then, these were things that people had. Like, there wasn't really like big electronics or whatever else. People weren't into that type of stuff now. Nowadays, like there's all kinds of like things that people buy that are expensive. You never told me my daddy was Aunt Belle's sweetheart first, I said to Mama. She was startled, right? So she's probably shocked. This was like a big secret that they've been hiding from them for a while. So remember, it was the grandmother who told her. So she's questioning her mom about this. Who told you that? She said sharply. So obviously she's kind of pissed off that the grandmother told her. I shrugged. Does it matter who told me? Is it true? She didn't answer. She wasn't listening. Her face had taken on that hurt look I recognized as belonging to her grief for Daddy. So she's, again, just the fact that she brought up her father just makes her sad because obviously he died. I guess Aunt Belle really loved him too, huh? I said softly. Love? Mama said. Belle was 18, I was 19, Amos was 25. We were mesmerized, brainwashed, hypnotized, whatever you want to call it. What do you mean? Oh, I don't know, my gypsy girl, she said, and she gave me a quick hug. I guess I mean when folks are in love, they say and do things they wouldn't dream of doing when they're in their right minds. And I guess Aunt Belle was pretty shook up when Daddy picked you over her, huh? I guess so, Mama said with a sigh. And I was so caught up in your father's spell, I'm afraid I ignored her feelings. Amos did too. We didn't see anybody or anything but each other. So how did Aunt Belle take it? Badly, Mama said. Mama paused and I saw her chin quiver. What do you think that means if she's doing that? Why is Love's chin quiver?
Because she doesn't want to say that in front of her, and because she feels bad.
She feels bad, but what do you think would make her chin quiver? She probably wants to almost like cry. That's why her chin might be quivering. She's like a whipped dog. She shut herself up in her room, wouldn't talk to anybody, lost weight, cried. Right, so obviously, as soon as this kind of happened, where Amos disappeared and started dating Love instead of Belle, obviously it just like crushed her, right? So she's like a whipped dog. That's a simile there, comparing her to a whipped dog. She's hiding, she's losing weight, she's crying. Mama abruptly walked to the window and placed her forehead gently against the frame. That's okay, Mama, I said quickly. You don't have to talk about it. I was just curious, but that's okay. So like the mom's really upset thinking about this, right? She gave me a brief wave of the hand as if to say, I'll be all right in a minute. So I watched her and waited. A soft, scented breeze ruffled her hair and her thin robe. She shivered, hugged herself, then walked back to me and calmly started rolling my hair again. There were tears on her cheeks, right? So this remembrance of this is making her upset, right? She's crying. In the last months, I have relived these days over and over again, Mama said. And I promised my sister in my heart that if I ever see her again, I will tell her how truly sorry I am that I caused her pain. Right, so she's reflecting back on this stuff. She's been thinking about what she did to her sister, and she feels bad for it. But Mama, if Daddy loved you best, that wasn't your fault. What were you supposed to do? I said, trying to comfort her. I could have been kinder, Mama said. Our eyes met in the mirror, and she smiled a sad kind of smile. It wasn't your fault, I insisted, nor Daddy's either. I remember that Saturday so vividly, Mama said. The day Belle finally came out of her room. She came down the stairs all dressed up to kill in a red dress and bright red lipstick, and smelling like she fell in a vat of perfume. Mother and I were in the living room altering a dress I was going to wear on a date with Amos later that night. Where are you going? I said to Belle. And she laughed. There was something unnatural about that laugh. I should have been more tuned into her feelings. She had one of those sheer white scarves she kept twirling around her neck and through her fingers like she couldn't be still. So, you should be kind of noticing here is that Belle's acting kind of crazy. She got all dressed up in a nice dress, but put on like a ridiculous amount of perfume, and now she's like acting really like weird. I'm going to find myself a beau. A beau's like a boyfriend or something like that, she said, and she laughed again. Oh no, Belle, don't go out tonight, Mother pleaded with her. It's payday for the miners, and the town is full of drunks. But she was out the door in a flash. We should have stopped her right then. We should have sat down with her and talked to her. We should have seen how alone she felt, but we didn't. And that was the night that she met Prater. I'm sorry. She ran off with him and sent us word the next day that she was okay. A week later, she sent word again that she was married. Does this seem like normal behavior?
No.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
No, really, you don't just marry someone after just 2 weeks of knowing someone.
Exactly, right. So she got so upset.
But the only reason she married him is because she doesn't want love to steal him away from him, just like she did to Amos.
Yeah, so she was just obviously a disaster. I mean, this is just kind of crazy behavior. You don't just marry someone.
You probably should give us an answer on Socrates.
And 2 weeks later, she came home and got all of her stuff while we were going to church. You were shocked at her behavior. Don't get me wrong, Everett's okay. A bit dull, maybe, but a good man, I guess. It's just the way she did it. You know, picking the first man that showed interest in her. I guess she was lucky it was Everett. She could have done worse. At that time, it seemed to me a terribly immature, impulsive, reckless thing that she did, and so spiteful. Like she hated us. Like it didn't matter who she married as long as she got away from us. But now I see it with different eyes. She was so hurt and desperate. She had to leave, not because she hated us. Because seeing me and Amos together every day was like opening a wound over and over. So it's almost like kind of like I don't know if I would say there was a right answer to it. Who's worse? The sister who takes your man away? Or the girl who leaves her family because of it?
The girl who leaves the family, because you could have just talked out all those problems and not have to run away.
The girl who took her mans, because if she never took the mans, she would have never left.
It's not her fault though. Amos said that he wanted, like, her sister. He didn't want Belle. It's not like she intended to take away his man. Her man.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I don't know. I feel like there's a line you don't cross though. You don't do that to your family. That's just my opinion. I disagree, but I would never do that to my brother, and I don't think your brother would ever do that to me. It's a tough line, but obviously you can see what it did, especially if it was somebody that you loved. All right, so continue. Diana, I can hardly hear you. Saying something, or is that just static? Mama walked back to the window.
Oh my God, I was in the...
I can't hear you. It's like static here. Mama walked back to the window. Now I almost admire her for what she did then, Mama said. More than night than me. She was courageous in an odd sort of way. It was like stepping off a familiar and safe place into darkness, not knowing. Maybe she's done it again, I interrupted. Have you ever thought of that, Mama? Right, so now she's saying, you know what, because this lady's disappeared. So she's thinking maybe she did it again. Slowly she turned back to me. Yes, I have thought of that. But there's Woodrow. I don't think she would leave him on purpose, right? So then that's kind of like messed up, right? So if she did leave, and then she left her son. That's kind of messed up. It's pretty messed up. I crawled into bed and Mama tucked me in. Have you ever, how grown up, you seen tonight, Gypsy? She said wistfully. It's almost like talking to another adult. Really? I said, pleased. Really. But now give me some little girl sugar and get some shut-eye. I slept on a soft night with the sounds and smells of spring in my senses. And my dreams were filled with the face of my Aunt Belle. I followed her down the corridors of bright seasons when she and Mama were girls, through warm summer nights and cold white Christmases, through schoolrooms and parties in autumn in the golden hills that she climbed. Where did you get lost in? It was near dawn and the nightmare came, just like the ones before it. There was an animal, limp and lifeless in a puddle of blood. Again, she keeps having this recurring nightmare of something, but an animal dying, making her nuts. Was it a deer, a dog, a kitten? An ugly thing was in that animal's face. The ugly thing I couldn't see. The ugly thing. Right? So she's having this nightmare, like some dying, ugly animal. I woke up crying for my mother, and I didn't feel grown up at all, nor did I want to be. She came to me as she always did, gentle and silent, rocking me like a baby in her arms. I can't see its face, Mama, I sobbed. Why can't I make out its face? She said nothing, but the sadness in her eyes told me she knew the answers and could not bear to tell me. So this is kind of an odd secret. What's this girl thing kind of about? All right, so this is all we're reading. I have questions for you to do on Socrative. I'll put the code up in a second when we start it. Let me finish this first. So this